Hello, lovelies. Hello, family, and welcome to my channel. I'm sorry I was away for a minute, but I'm back. I wanted to share with you all some pictures that I have. I know it's some food here. We cook in the kitchen, but I wanted to share some pictures with our experience that we had at the National Archives. The reason why we went to the National Archives was because I watch a lot of Dane Calloway's videos on YouTube, and I've learned a lot from him. He's amazing. And his videos touch on some of the things you can do to do more research on your family tree and your family history. So I decided to take my family, you know, take the boys with us, and my fiance, my boyfriend, Omar. He came along too with his son, and I brought my son, Austin, and we decided to take a trip to the National Archives, because it was recommended by Dane Calloway. Now, on this picture here, I'm clicking it on. This is Dane Calloway's. This is the packet that he had, the ebook that he had to download to trace your roots. This is the front cover of it. I downloaded it, and it's a wealth of information. It's a treasure trove. It says how to trace your native tribe, and it was compiled by Dane Calloway, and it was very helpful. What we did, we couldn't take the whole packet with us because it was sort of thick. I believe it's about 80 pages, once you print it out. So we took the most important parts to it. I think we took out the part about the National Archive and what to look for. And we took that along with us. So it was like a little great guide to have when going to the National Archive to know exactly what to look for. So we took it with us. It helped us to stay on course and to know exactly, have a better idea what to look for when we got there. And it was great. When we went in there, but this is the ebook that he has that you can download on his blog. I think it's I'm Just Here to Make You Think. And that's the front page of it. And that's where we got the information, so we'll know what to look for. And so this is the actual Atlanta National Archives. And I believe that one is for the national. We went to the national one. We may go back again later on. I'm probably take some more pictures again for the next time we go. But we went to the National Archives, and we didn't get a chance to go to the Atlanta one, the one for Georgia, and because the one for Atlanta goes more into details if you want like birth records and marriage certificates, copies of stuff like that, property information. For Georgia, you have to go to the Atlanta archives, but we went to the national just gives you a whole overview. And it was really simple. I thought it was going to be complicated. I thought it was going to be very expensive to go. You have to pay for stuff. But they allow you to bring your own cell phone. And that's how I got these pictures. So I brought my cell phone, and I just, my iPhone, and I just took pictures while I was there. And they let you get on their computer, which has a database, which I'm going to show you. And before I get into detail of that, I also wanted to show you, these are the boys, Austin and Amari. They were out front in front of the exhibit, the National Archives of Atlanta. And of course, here's the exhibit. I'll show that to you all. It's like a little video I did. As you walk in, you have to go through security, of course, and they also have to check your ID, I believe, and then you also write your name down as you clock in, and then as you go in, you see these wonderful exhibits. So I just walked on through, letting y'all see. I was really amazed about the rich history they have of the exhibit. There go the boys, and there go Omar. And it's just amazing. It's a wealth of history. It's a wonderful trip to take with your family to see, to get a snapshot. I guess it's playing again, but of what just took place, throughout history here in the, I believe, this, all over the United States, they have different historic artifacts that took place nationally. That's the beautiful thing about the National Archives. This the boys standing here in front of some of the exhibits. And Omar, of course, they're looking around. But I just want to share that with you all. And then after we went, this is talking about the Tuskegee. I just thought this was wonderful information about the Tuskegee study, about how they, I believe this is the one about how they did the injustice of exposing the families to different diseases. Well, really, it was the syphilis, I believe, and how it harmed a lot of families, and a lot of people, families died from the Tuskegee Project, and it's just more pictures of what they did, during the Tuskegee Project. I just wanted to take pictures, of the exhibit and show that, up close and personal, the doctors and everything, and how cruel it was. And they was doing these experiments on American Aborigines, exposing them to diseases that they knew that they had cure for, that it could have been prevented, but they didn't, because they wanted to see how it affected American Aborigines. But it harmed many families, and these men died from the disease that they were exposing them to, which is a crime shame. But it just, the stories, the pictures speak volumes as to what actually took place. I think it reached home for me because, I have family in Tuskegee. My father was originally from Tuskegee, Alabama, from Macon County. And, it was very sad. But, and I just took more pictures of the exhibits right here. Here's another exhibit that this picture I took. I believe that was with Bill Clinton. And President, the former president, Bill Clinton, he was taking a picture with someone. And here's some more, the slave. I can't get to these slave documents, them capturing the American Aborigines, the Indians, and putting them in slavery, and yeah. Here go another picture of that, But this is a wonderful trip to bring your family along to learn. And it's also a wonderful trip to go and get more background information. And see, what I did was I took pictures. You can bring in your camera, which is wonderful because it helps you to save money and not have to spend money on it prevents you from having to spend more money for printing. So if you have your camera, your cell phone with you, you can just take snapshots and you can upload it yourself so you can go back to it and reference it to it. What I recommend though is when you go to the archive, make sure you have your family tree, or at least try to have your grandparents' name, the date of birth, where they were born or where they were living. So you can have an idea of, finding your family members and being able to look them up. Now, I did not have a hard time finding families on my mother's side because they originated here in Atlanta. But I had a very difficult time finding information on my dad's side in Alabama in Macon County. That was very difficult to find. I was able to find an Eddie Swanson, but I'm not sure if it's him. But my grandfather, while he was living, he did tell me that the court records were burned and destroyed. So he wasn't even sure what year he was born. And so I found someone with a similar name as his, but I'm not sure if it's him or not, because I'm not sure if it's him or not. And so when you have records that's been destroyed like that through fires, it makes it more difficult to know if you got the right person or not when you're looking them up on the archives. But I remember my grandfather saying that the courthouse was burnt down and a lot of the court records was burnt. And a lot of times that happened a lot of time in American history, a lot of burning of the files and records, and that was done intentionally. Because a lot of the records they destroyed were the American Aborigines records, because they don't want American Aborigines, the aka African Americans, know that they're indigenous here in America. So they destroyed a lot of the records to hide the evidence and the proof that we are indigenous here. And so what they did was they destroyed a lot of records. But I did know that through my research that if your family is listed as Negro means, was another name for the Indians, the American Aborigines. And I looked up my family and I was able to find this is the record I was looking. I believe this is for Ed Swanson. I did find an Ed Swanson. It was highlighted right here. And this is what it looks like. I want y'all to see what it looks like. And I pulled the 1940s. And see, once you had that, it has a list of the people in the household, the names, and then you can sort of go back through each generation and pull the person's name. Because this has Ed Swanson and there's a Martha Swanson. So you just go back and look, and you can backtrack and find and go even further. I think it starts off in the 1940s and it goes back even further as far as you can. But unfortunately, the furthest we can go, I believe, is the 1800s. I'm not sure it's 1700s. I believe the original census was done in the 1790s, somewhere around that time. And the original census only included the Great Caucasoids, the Caucasians, the pale Americans, the Europeans. So it didn't include the American Aborigines, the copper-colored races in the original census. So, they were excluded and left out. So they only included the Caucasians, the Europeans, the invaders in the original census. And then after that, they didn't list the Indians like they were supposed to. They never really listed the Indians at all. They just all of a sudden start listing people as black, and the blacks represents the Negroes. They listed them as colored or Negro, which is another name for, the Indians that they gave. And it was another way to try to cover up the truth and deny the indigenous roots of the people who were here first. And I just found another one. These are my mom's side of the family. I was able to find it. And it says Negro as it describes them as Negro on here. And so those are the American Indians. So, and you just go back through each one and write down the names of people. What I did was I just took pictures, and, you can go back and get the names. Some of the names might be misspelled because one of my relatives' names was misspelled. If I typed that person, my grandfather's name one way, but then in the computer it's misspelled. On the documents, it's spelled a totally different way. That's why I wasn't able to find him. But when I looked it up under my grandmother's name, I was able to pull up. And then when I pulled up her name, I was able to pull up his name, and it showed both of them. So, yeah, this was wonderful. We had a great time. This is Omar and I standing in front of the National Archives. It was really hot out there. So, but that's us standing out there in front of the archives. But I think it is a wonderful trip. It's filled with wonderful information. and resources for the family. I really enjoyed the children enjoyed. And not only that, you can also get a researcher's card. If you go into the other room and you dig even further, you want to look at more court records, national court records, you can look it up. I didn't get a chance to get one, but Omar did. He was able to get a copy, a card, a researcher's card from the National Archives that he can keep, so he can, when he go in there, he can use it again. But I didn't get one because I didn't go into the back room. I was stuck on the computers looking through the database. But I did find some information. We will go back again to get more. But I wanted to share with you all, I wanted to tell you all that this is an excellent resource, especially when you're starting to dig. I know Omar, on his side of the family, he found some more, a lot of information, and shed more light for him. And it shed more light for me too. But I got to do some more digging and some more research to find out more. I wanted to find out more on my dad's side of the family, the Swansons, because they're sort of a mystery, and a lot of the records been burned out in Alabama and Macon County. You know, and you can tell that things are not as organized as it should be. You know, some stuff are missing, but I'm still investigating. I know my grandfather, when I spoke to him, he does not recall us being from Africa. Because I asked him when I was, when he was living, I asked him, I said, are we originally from Africa? And he said, no. He said, we've always been here. And my grandfather, he never went to school. I think the highest level of education he went through was second grade, I believe. And he really didn't know how to read and write much. He was a sharecropper, and he owned land out in Alabama. And so he told me that they always been there, and they were farmers, and there were generations of farmers and sharecroppers, and that they always been there. He didn't understand what I was talking about when I talked about we were from Africa. He just looked at me like we're crazy. He said that we always been here. He said, what are you talking about? We're not from Africa. We're from here. He said, our roots are in the Americas. So some of the records I'm pulling up is starting to show and shed more light. And so I'm starting to really believe that the indoctrinations that was done in school for the baby boomers is what wiped out the information that previous generations knew about, like our grandparents who were born in the early 1900s. They knew the truth, and they told the truth that we are Indians, and that we're indigenous here. And it's just when the kids went to school, the baby boomers, they were indoctrinated through the school system with lies and history books. And it was passed down to the generation Xers, and then it was passed down to the millennials, these false lies and stuff. That's 3 generations of lies that's been passed down, grey-washing our history. But when I go back to speak to my grandparents, they tell us that we were Indians. And they didn't go to school. They weren't indoctrinated. So they knew the family traditions and the oral histories. And that's how I was able to tell that we were Creek and Cherokee, And on my children's side, on their father's side, on my ex-husband, they knew that they were Blackfoot Indian, and I believe it was Blackfoot. And yeah. And so, and it's just everything is coming to light, and we know piecemealing all these pieces together, going back, doing research, and listening to the oral stories and traditions, dialectic, I'm trying to pronounce it, dialectic histories, which is oral history, that tells you what actually took place, that's been passed down through tradition. That's one way to remember what has gone on and what has taken place. And going through the archives and seeing that your family is listed as Negro, and then when you research Negro is a term that was created by great Caucasians that was created by the colonizers to describe the Indians who were here. And then you see the pictures of the Indians with afros. The initial contact were dark complexion Indians, with copper colored skin with woven hair like us, which was us. And, these are the people that they saw, which are our people. And so we are the ones that are indigenous here. We are the true American Aborigines. And these gathering this information and piecemealing it together is bringing a clear picture as to exactly what took place and understanding who we are as a people. But please like this video and thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to do another part to this video when we go out a second time to get more information, because we weren't finished. It was still, we were just, scraping and, scratching the surface. I still got some more questions, and I'm still trying to figure things out. So we're going to go back up there again and to the National Archives and possibly to the state archives as well to get more records for, families members that are here in Georgia. But please let me know what you think. Like this video, thumbs up. Check out, you can check all this out. I'm going to put this information probably on my blog. And I'm going to put a link to my website and the necklaces, the crystal necklaces, and my e-store, Purpoz Healing Arts is coming soon. Keeping you all posted and working on it. But till next time, family, peace and be blessed. Bye-bye.